Hello everyone, welcome to Shelley's Education Center. Today in our English class, I will discuss about Virginia Woolf, the best woman novelist between the wars. Virginia Woolf has assembled a strange pattern of symbolic ideas, literally said, inconsequent streams of thoughts, longings, apprehensions, and musings on life pour out as they arise in the minds of all. She has found a method, that of symbolism, which enables her to present the inner world of perceptions, and she tries to relate to a deeper philosophic purpose. She rejected the conventional conception of the novel. She believes that fiction is recreation of the complexities of life. As life is a most subtle and complicated succession of experiences, so fiction must be infinitely adaptable and supple to catch the tones, light, and shade of experiences. She wanted to communicate a sense of reality, and reality for her is an inward subjective awareness. She worked out a boldly artistic form. Her novels are impressionistic renderings of the infinitely small and transient elements out of which the web of our daily experiences is woven. The plot of novels is quite simple and cut down to a minimum of facts. She has indeed added a new dimension to prose fiction. Prose fiction attained the highest degree in wordness in her hand and absorbed the lyrical qualities into it. Now moving to the main answer. Like the Victorian age, the present age between the wars of 1919 to 1942 saw a rich gallery of women novelists, some of whom attained to a high stature, making significant contributions which rival the masculine contributions. The most talented and outstanding novelist of the group is, of course, Virginia Woolf. She was the daughter of the famous Victorian critic and scholar Sir Leslie Stephen. Virginia had literature in her blood. She was brought up in the surcharged atmosphere of culture and became the center of a notable group of intellectuals called the Bloomsbury Group, which included such men as the famous economist Lord Keynes, the famous novelist Forster, and the biographer Lytton Strachey. Moving in this world, which was the refined and rarefied for the ordinary people, the members were often scoffed as highbrow in literature. Virginia Woolf, 1882 to 1941, was very conscious of her place in the tradition of women writers, and her determination to maintain the dignity of a sex could at times even tempt her into the inartistic faults of stridency, exaggeration, and overemphasis. Writing about women and fiction, she observed that the greater impersonality of women's lives will encourage the poetic spirit, and it is the poetry that women's fiction is still weakest. It will lead them to be less absorbed in facts and no longer content to record with astonishing acuteness the minute details which fell under their own observation. They will look beyond the personal and political relationships to the wider questions which the poet tries to solve of our destiny and the meaning of life. The poetic spirit, together with the concern of the meaning and destiny of life, is the chief characteristics of Woolf's own fiction from the very start. Fiction, to her, is not a criticism of life in the Arnoldian sense, but rather a recreation of the complexity of experiences. Thus, her technique in the novel is the stream of consciousness technique, as already tried by Dorothy Richardson and James Joyce. Of course, at first, she wrote in the traditional realistic way. The Voyage Out, 1915, Night and Day, 1919, are in the traditional from dealing with the material surface of life and presenting a pattern of life. But it is Jacob's Room, 1922, that marks a significant development to the new technique. Of course, there are flashes of satirical wit aimed at men and at their attempts to think or to keep up the show of thinking. Like Jane Austen, she shows here a keen sense of the apparent trivialities of life, such as the way the people look and laugh and run up the steps of omnibuses. But in the next novel, Mrs. Dalloway, 1925, the technique is used with great confidence and success. Its scope is 15 hours of a June day in the life of Mrs. Dalloway. As in Ulysses, it is a Dublin day in the life of Bloom. Though all her deeds during the period were driven inside the mind, her stream of consciousness, seeing her as she sees herself and other through her eyes. But the defect in the characterization of this heroine lies in this, that she appears more as a disembodied spirit, a mere mass of consciousness, than a living and breathing woman. To a Lighthouse, 1927, is usually recognized as a masterpiece. Here, she achieves a triumphant success in a new mode. The novel may be justly described as an expanded metaphor, as Wilson Knight has described a Shakespearean play. The scene is laid in a house in the Hebrides, far away from the turmoil of London, and only a small family and 3 guests are the personages in the novel. Plot is reduced to a minimum, almost nil. The characters, particularly Mr. and Mrs. Ramsay, who is self-portraiture of the novelist herself, are living personalities, and the latter is the more dominant character. Thus, Virginia stands in a novel as the champion of her own sex, drawing the women with greater care, attention, and giving them stronger personality than men. This style of the novel of Virginia Woolf shows what a genius she is. It is prose, which is not removed from poetry, colored, rhythmical, and ornate. Her use of imagery shows almost Shakespearean imagination and deftness. Her delicate analysis of the motives, impulses, and reactions of situations in her character shows her as amazing artist in the gift of characterization. Her technique reflects a deep human interest for what makes life rich. Her notable works are Jacob's Room, 1922, Mrs. Dalloway, 1925, To the Lighthouse, 1927, Orlando, 1928, The Waves, masterpiece, and her last novel is Between the Acts, 1941. It's all here now. If you like the class, inbox me with your comment. Do like, share, and subscribe the channel. Press the bell icon for notification. Meet you all on next class. Till then, thank you.